In space, no one can hear you scream.
So, good evening, welcome along. Welcome to Let's Talk Trek, the UK's / world's best and brightest talk show, once a week, webcast, whatever you want to call it. We are joined today by myself, Dan from the Trekkies Guide to Galaxy, by Carl from the Trekkies Guide to Galaxy, give us a wave. Hello. Richard from the USS Riker's Beard, and James Dillon from I Bought a Webcam with Lots of Pixels. We are with you all the way through for the next 45 minutes, and we have a variety of features we're going to be doing. If you're watching us and you want to say hello, get into the comments. We will flash them up on the screens. Let's start with the first thing for tonight, then. First of all, we want to give a round of applause and a well done to the Dillon family, who have expanded this week. Well done.
It's true, they've adopted me.
Congratulations on the birth of your son, James.
Yes, the heir to my lands and titles.
Your daughter must be so happy. Right, we've already got comments coming in, so let's have a look. Cindy Ring says, hello.
Hi, Cindy.
Dallas.
Good day.
Christoph's in. Hi, guys, and all. Happy 2021. Happy
Hey,
21.
Happy New Year to all of our viewers.
It is Happy New Year.
Megan. Hi, Megan. How are you
Good
doing?
evening, Megan.
I thought Megan was going to come on with us one week.
She was. It's my fault. We've been messaging each other, and it all got confused, and I didn't get back to her. But Megan does have a problem, and she's going to write in, so we can address her Star Trek-related problem with our expertise.
Okay, it's right.
Uncles, fantastic.
Yeah.
You've been messaging a girl, and it all got confused. The last time I did that, I had to block her from contacting me.
Last time that happened to me, it turned out she wasn't a girl. Well, there we go.
Wow. There we go.
Evening, Alan.
Melinda from Missouri. Fantastic. We've got a lot of people from
Worldwide.
from North America in here tonight. That's
Truly
fantastic.
international.
Truly international. Right.
I
So
mean, that's basically North America is the motherland for us because that's where Star Trek came from. So it's a privilege to have you guys with us.
And we'd like to, of course, very quickly, before we jump into the show, we'd like to say a very quick thank you to the guys from Virtual TrekCon who had us last week as a live panel and had me for trivia 2 nights a week. And you guys were all amazing. Thank you so much for that.
Have they invited us back?
No doubt they will, I'm sure. So if you're one of the regular viewers to this show, what we do is we invite James to make... Oh, who's feeding back? Who's just in a volume up? Oh, that's weird. Anyway, right. We invite James to make cocktails because we discovered that he's much more fun after having a drink. So let's do it.
Do you know, as a matter of law, my blood alcohol level is not to drop below 80 milliliters per 100, milligrams per 100 milliliters. By law.
Why is that, James?
It's just the law.
I see. Right, okay. There's no consequences. There's no
That's
consequences.
Dan pressing the wrong button there, I'm afraid. That's the one.
I'm sure Dan's never done that before. Come on.
Right.
Goes along with his confusing messages from earlier.
So this week's cocktail is, as we're still just about within the realms of Christmas and the festive season, is the Delta Vega Snowball. Now, for the Delta Vega snowball, you're going to need 3 things. Firstly, Ferengi lemonade. Now, what do we know about Ferengi lemons?
Moist.
Slugs.
Yeah, more moist. You'll also need some Ferengi lime. And what do we know about Ferengi lime?
Exceedingly moist.
Excellent. And finally, you'll need some Taspar Advocar, made with also Temerian sugar. And you'd mix it all together in the ordinary course of things. But if, like me, you've been a bit busy this week, you've been dealing with child-related issues, you can just get a pre-mix one like this. Martini glass. It's the perfect way to start your Christmas morning.
What is it, James? We can't make it out on your camera, I'm afraid.
Your camera of many pixels.
What was it?
Snowball.
It's a snowball. Right, there we are.
Yes, they are.
I'm expecting you to go into a rendition of James and his amazing technical webcam in a minute.
What's it's the same webcam I use every week.
I'd blame your IT department if I were you.
I was going to say, well, you want to have a word with your IT man there.
I think it might be to do one of the light bulbs in here is gone. But there we are.
Oh,
anyway, so the snowball, very nice.
Wait, look. Christoph's from Austria. G'day, mate. Let's put another sausage on the barbie.
Not that Australia.
Oh, dear.
Anyway, terribly nice. Terribly
Wonderful.
nice. I recommend a snowball. Thanks, Chris.
Don't forget, of course, Chris is having a baby soon as well. So would you have any advice to give to Chris from your baby producing exploits?
Yes, always have your car fully packed. And when the midwife sends your wife out for a walk around the hospital car park at 6 in the morning when it's freezing cold, wear an extra layer.
Chris, always keep a tissue and or a wet wipe on you at all times.
Also a baseball glove, because
I'm glad you said glove.
It was so fast, I nearly had to catch myself.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
What's going on here?
Look
What
at that.
you? And I'm Carl's pressing all the buttons.
That shouldn't even have come up then. That was merely me preparing.
Anna Maria from British Columbia, the finest kind of British, please.
Absolutely. Skis, Mozart, and Arnold Schwarzenegger, not kangaroo.
That's
I think
Austrian.
Yes,
I
different
think that
kind
is
of
an
Austria.
excuse for some Schwarzenegger quotes.
Now, did you just see that we had
Get
someone
to
in
the
from,
chopper!
Get
did
the
you see someone,
job.
we had somebody in
Please,
from
no
British
bathroom.
Columbia, boys and girls.
Yes, we saw someone from British Columbia.
Let off some steam. baby.
Ironically, we nicknamed Blackpool British Columbia, but that's mostly because it's full of illegal drugs. And it's in Britain.
You can't say that.
Yes, you can.
You can't say
We're not from there. We can say what we want.
Don't worry. I'll mute him.
If it bleeds, we can kill it.
Actually, I've got it. So, you guys don't follow football, but there's a wonderful football manager. Okay. And he was the manager of Blackpool, and he was the most outspoken manager ever. And they said to him, "So what do you think of Blackpool?" He said, "Oh, it's fantastic. He's from the West Country." He said, "It's fantastic. It's full of transvestites and people in shell suits."
Consider that a divorce.
Right. Come on, boys. Let's move on with this show. So we've had for cocktail. Thank you very much. We've done congratulations to James on the birth of baby Jacob. Jacob's the right word, isn't
Jacob.
it? Wonderful. I did remember.
Not Richard or Carl or Dan. Apparently
Yeah,
Jacob-
none of us. We are a bit
We did
offended.
put all of those up as a possibility, but we got ignored.
Yeah.
Come with me if you want to leave.
Right. Carl, shall we press that button?
Yes, go on. James, you do know they can't see you when the video's playing.
Well, I'm playing the theme tune. I'm busy.
That's probably a good job then. So yeah, as most of you will have saw then when the software decided to share something that we didn't click the button for, on this week's Collectible Corner, we have a gift I received for Christmas. It's this absolutely stunning model of Deep Space Nine, complete with Scale Enterprise D to dock onto it. Now, this is the Playmates DS9 Light and Sound that was released in the mid-90s. And to be perfectly honest, you're lucky if you can get hold of one currently. I was very, very fortunate. One came up on eBay just before Christmas, and my fantastic better half decided that she would spring for it for me as a present. So, yeah, I was exceedingly pleased with that.
Is it lights and sound, Carl?
Sorry?
Is it lights and sound if it's a Playmates one?
Yes, sir. So we have not much in the way of lights, unfortunately. Only those couple of LEDs around the habitat ring, but we do have lights and sound. There are 4 sounds to it. I believe you get tractor beam, phaser. Let's see what else we've got. That's the old tractor beam. We've had the phaser. What else have we got here? We've got torpedoes as well. And some nondescript collision noise by the sound of it.
Carl, I have to say that is absolutely stunning.
It's a lovely model, and I've been after it for quite a long time.
Yeah.
It's quite difficult to get hold of in this country. My understanding was very few of them actually made it across the pond to us of that particular model. In all honesty, you're very, very fortunate if you can pick one of these up second hand for anything less than, I'd say, about 15,000 pence.
Wow.
I was extremely fortunate that this one came up at 9,900 pence, and we snagged it straight away.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it came in the box, mint condition, absolutely nothing wrong with it. Worked
perfect.
perfect.
I mean, you've got a class camera set up there. It's not like James's one, so we can actually see the detail, and that's not far off being usable. Obviously not in HD, but if you were filming in standard definition, that's not far off being a usable model for effect shots. That's really nice. That's absolutely lovely.
It's a lovely model, and if you do ever get a chance to grab one of those for anywhere around the 10,000 pence mark, don't even hesitate, because it, like I say, it's a rarity in this country anyway, and at that price, it's a steal.
Wow.
Absolutely wonderful. Yeah.
Well, let's say hello to some more people. Jolly Lions.
Hey, what's going on?
A weekly Trek show. Moving on.
Yes. Ben from Hey Ben.
Interesting point about your scale model of the Enterprise D. I think it was said by the likes of Rick Sternbach and Doug Drexler that Deep Space Nine was never officially scaled. And it was inconsistently scaled in terms of when you'd see things docked at it. So the Defiant appears relatively large. When you consider you see the Enterprise D at the top of a pylon, it looks quite small.
Yeah.
The estimates varied from sort of 400 meters to 2 kilometers, I think.
James, this
interesting point. They never got that right.
No, but it sounds like a very well rehearsed thing you've said there, James. Did you repeat the same thing on your wedding night?
Right, moving on. Thank you very much. So, tonight, dear viewers, we have a new game we're going to play. For instance, if you look up at the sky one night or one day and you see the clouds, you can sometimes make shapes in your head. Oh, that looks like a bird, and that looks like a tree, and that looks like the Enterprise. So, if you're watching tonight, can you please tell us, when you look at James's camera, what do you imagine it looks like?
I'll just turn it off then. Can you tell any different?
What? Who said that? God, is that you?
Oh, jeez.
James, put your camera back on. Dan, stop being mean about James's camera.
I'm not being mean about James's camera.
That's better.
Why have you just done that?
Yeah.
What have you just done,
sorted
James?
it out.
Fixed it.
I turned it off and on again.
Hey, finally.
I'm an IT professional.
Tell you to do that.
Oh, bless. Wow.
Just don't move too quickly, because then it won't force it to do any sort of like serious processing.
That's much better. That is really...
Oh, brilliant.
Oh, amazing. Wow. Okay. Apparently it's called focus. That's the issue, says Chris. Right. So, new year.
We routinely have issues with, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. New year, new us. First of all, we know.
Because
Yeah. it got me thinking. What are you looking forward to Trek-wise in the new year? What's coming up that you want in the next? If the world gets better and we can move around and travel as allowed and events start happening again, what is your focus for this year?
Picard Season 2, Strange New Worlds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Discovery finishing. There's hopefully going to be towards the end of this year. I do think towards the end of this year, conventions might be happening again. And as much as of course, we all love Star. I rib Discovery every week, but I'd rather watch Discovery than no Trek. Of course, I would. So we all enjoy Trek, but we all enjoy getting together. What am I looking forward to? I'm looking forward to the COVID getting its ass kicked, and towards the end of this year, us all getting together and talking about, arguing in the pub about how good or bad Discovery is, and loving Picard or hating Picard or whatnot. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing some of the other Trek people that you see online who've been a bit quiet through COVID. And I think it maybe it's hard to sort of do some of these shows if you don't see each other all the time. I'm looking forward to seeing those
bringing our community back together is what I'm looking forward to. Yeah.
James,
I already said Picard Season 2 and Strange New Worlds.
You did, which other people said that as well.
Yeah.
I think conventions is a big one. I agree, although I think the convention scene will be vastly different to how it has been previously. I think people may be a bit...
There'll be less kissing and hugging, won't there?
Well, not so much.
Only actually in the convention hall where they can keep control of us.
I mean, I think personally it's going to be really hard to do like photo opportunities. Like, will stars want to be, this close to you doing a photo anymore?
It might be in a plastic box.
Will we see more photo opportunities, like, for instance, on the Bridge of the Enterprise, where you're at a con position and the star is sitting on the captain's chair, or they're on the captain's chair and you're on.
Gee, and I'll just have a quick serious note on that.
Oh, God.
When you go off to your conventions and you've got your autograph booked or your photo booked, what's the absolute difference between standing a foot away from them or getting it sent in the mail? It's because you get your selfie at the desk or you get to actually be next to them. I remember famously there was the have your picture taken with Britney Spears, but you're not allowed to go within 3 feet of her kind of thing. And it's, and then you look at wonderful people like Doug Jones and he's all over them. So yeah, it's a massive worry when you go back to conventions is how much footfall are you going to get for them if they don't want to do it. The last convention that we were all at, Michael Dorn wasn't doing handshakes. He was doing fist bumps instead. And he actually got a lot of flack for that. I mean, he really did. A lot of people were like, oh, he's really snobbish and whatnot. But, he's a right to decide what he wants to do or not. I personally don't think it'll be an issue because the only way that conventions are going to come back is if there's a vaccine. And I think if there's a vaccine, I think the stars will be happy to be in the photos the same as they were before. Obviously, some of them may choose not to be, but I don't think it'll be as big an issue as perhaps you think it might be. As long as we've all had the vaccine and we're all sorted.
Fair enough. Right, going into...
At the end of the day, we are the sort of group that respects everybody's choices. You would like to think.
Yeah.
So let's have a look through the comments of what people are excited for. I know Carl has been flashing a couple up. We'll go through them very quickly. Megan says, Destination Exotic London, Strange New Worlds. Maria says, more Picard, which someone else has already said. I think it was James. So yeah, we're looking forward to that. Strange New Worlds and DST. Yep, definitely that. Lower Decks Season 2. I'm really looking forward to Lower Decks Season 2. I liked Lower Decks as a thing. I know some of you didn't quite, or it wasn't.
What do you mean? You've watched Lower Decks?
Yes.
In the UK?
No, I went to America to watch it before the lockdown, obviously. Yes.
I like Lower Decks too. It was a bit of froth and whimsy.
Yes, James came with me to America because we have not yet had it in the UK.
Well, we've been there.
Moving on, Chris wants to be us in person. You'll be sorely disappointed. Megan said, some of my Trek friends haven't been to a convention yet, so hopefully they'll be able to come with me and we can all have fun together.
Absolutely. One of the nicest things ever was when we went to the Netflix premiere and we got to meet Meg, because you guys all knew her from the Sci-Fi Ball. I'd never met her before. And gosh, what a lovely person she is in real. She's wonderful online, but she's a wonderful person in real life.
And she put up with drunken you, which is always a good point.
I was a bit pissed.
Right. Well, we've had a question to quickly discuss before we go into the news. So, how would you all feel if a DS9 arc was brought into Discovery?
Geordie, do you mean an arc from DS9 or a DS9 style arc?
Well,
I think
DS9.
he means tying in a destination, a DS9 plot somehow with Discovery that's a million years in the future. Yeah, I think if they got in the current writers of Doctor Who, they could do it.
The obvious opener to that particular story arc would, of course, be Mr. Sisko, who's currently living in a non-linear existence.
Or when they went to that planet where they would, it was a junk planet and they're demolishing bits. It would have been nice to have, for instance, just seen the front end of a runabout, or tie in that way.
Do you remember that DS9 episode with the planet that reappeared every 500 years or whatever?
Oh yeah, the one that Jadzia found.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
It became a subspace anchor, which is a horrible way to end a relationship with someone, saying you are a subspace anchor. Yes,
so I wonder.
I mean, I know we sometimes refer to them as ball and chains, but really, a subspace anchor? That's a bit extreme, isn't it?
Moving on.
No, wait. They could honestly, they could science away the closure of that episode and have that reappear in Disco's timeline.
That would be interesting, actually. Yeah.
Moving on.
Especially as the sphere data would know where and when it would appear.
Absolutely.
Stuff are some of the best in the world, says Chris.
Is the sphere data going to anthropomorphize itself and become Mr. Data?
Let's have a look. Megan says, Sci-Fi Ball is still on my list of conventions to go to.
Well, you're out of luck this year.
Yeah, it'll be 2022 before the next Sci-Fi Ball, unfortunately. They are not doing this year, it's just 21. But we are looking forward to 22. Who's going from our group to 22, or who's thinking about it?
The plus for me this Christmas has been I've not been running around like a maniac trying to build a shuttlecraft or something for the SF Ball. So I've had a little break.
You say that, but Mrs. Dillon's been busy building a baby, so...
True. Yeah, well, she was doing that. I mean, I couldn't really help with that. Apart from at the outset, obviously.
You laid the blueprints.
Ben, DS9 would be good, especially if Sisko's in it. Absolutely, that's what we just said.
If only one of us could do a really good impression of Benjamin Sisko.
I know, it's one of those things that's really lacking on this show is a good Avery Brooks impression.
Really? You think we have got a good Avery Brooks impression? Well, that's controversial.
That's not me.
We're looking at you, Richard.
If you were to have Deep Space Nine turn into the Discovery arc, then you would not know where or when things would happen.
Thank you very much. Right, let's get back to the comments. So, Michael McClear says, haven't they already done that with Trills, as in brought the Trills across?
Yeah, there's been a tie-in, yeah.
By the way, Michael knows lots and lots and lots about Pages Bar, Richard. Like lots.
Oh, hi, Michael. Please ping. It's all on hold at the moment for obvious reasons, but we're making a film about Pages Bar. We've got
yes, Michael, I were drinking buddies there back in the 90s.
Yeah. So we're making a proper production of this. So if you could ping the show just as a holding place, we remember to get in contact with you. We'd love to come and meet you and interview you for the film. If you have some stories to tell, that'd be marvelous.
There we go. We apologise for the fact that Richard's swallowing wine and he's getting less coherent. Moving on. Right, let's have a look. SF Ball is awesome. If I can go there, I'll be there. SF Ball's the greatest in the world. Here we go. The new SFB is a bit off the grid. I need a shuttle or transporter to get anywhere.
Yes.
As we've said, convention people are some of the greatest people in the world. I'm sure if you put your needs out there, someone will either help or assist. No one's going to see anyone stuck or left behind.
Am I right in saying the Sci-Fi Ball hotel chain is actually gone into liquidation, so it's not going to be at that if it does happen.
No, there were rumours it might be like any other chain of hotels in an economy that you can't go and stay in a hotel. Obviously struggling.
That was a problem.
So it may still. And whereabouts is the Sci-Fi Ball Hotel? Whereabouts is?
It's on the outskirts of Southampton. This was going to be a new one this year, moving away from the Grand Harbour. Prior to that, it was in Bournemouth at a wonderful place called the Carrington.
Right.
Wonderful, wonderful. All very fond memories of the Carrington.
My face seems familiar.
I did indeed park the shuttlecraft. Are you talking about impregnating my wife here, Christopher?
Oh, it's a good job we're on post-watershed, isn't it?
We are never getting that job which we want for the After Trek specials. When they eventually decide that Wheaton is not hip enough and they want 4 middle-aged blokes on it, we're not getting that. We would love Will Wheaton to come on this show. We love Will Wheaton to bits. Great.
We do. Wheaton's a lot of fun.
Will, we know you're a friend of the show. Come on.
We know you're watching.
Get your people to talk to my people, and we'll get you on.
Sorry, who is he?
Moving on. Right, it's time for the news.
Oh, is it? Hang on, let me set up another screen share then. Oh, crikey.
While you're doing that, Carl, Dan, because we're looking through the comments, why don't we invite both of our viewers to let us know any suggestions they may have for future features here on our show?
Oh, yes. Now that,
just in case we decide to rest Booze Reviewz for you.
Wish. You mistakenly think that this is a democracy, which it isn't.
We have news.
Go for news, Carl. What is it?
Well, I'm going to ask you that because I set it up ready. So, what is this picture all about then, James?
This is the Admiral from Star Trek Discovery.
Admiral Cornwell, who's dead.
That's the one.
And a medical doctor who's a real medical doctor, an actual proper medical.
He is an actual proper doctor, and he's one of the friends of the Seventh Rule who hosted the virtual TrekCon.
Indeed.
3 times.
Is he doing a podcast about teaching biology through the medium of Star Trek or something? Did I see something about that?
He's doing it in conjunction with Jane Brooks. She's assisting him with it. They're going to be starting that on January the 10th. And each week it'll be... They're going to base it apparently around something to do with episodes within season 3 of Discovery. They're going to start with and base it around that. And it's all to do with biology. So, yeah, about half an hour long each episode starting on the 10th of January.
Oh, maybe they can investigate why none of the actors can speak correctly and I have to use subtitles to understand what they're saying.
Maybe just turn your volume up. That's what I tend to have to do.
It's a fact, isn't it? They all seem to whisper the entire time under their breath. I get so bored trying to listen into what they're saying. I put the subtitles on.
Oh dear, right. So we'll move on to our next piece of news then. Still Discovery related, and that is that Tig Notaro, is it?
Oh, I know this. She gets a haircut.
What?
No.
So this is the news that she has confirmed she will return for Discovery season 4.
Right.
Was there a reason she wouldn't have returned for Discovery season 4?
Not that we know of, no. But she has signed on, however, she has said that...
How is it news then?
Because she's confirmed it. Not everyone had confirmed that they were going to be signed on for season 4. She has now confirmed it. But she has said also that it will be limited appearances due to potential health risks.
Right, can we just stop that picture right there just for a quick second? That thing in the background that says 2731, that's blatantly a milk pail. Is this the ship kitchen?
John, actually.
Oh, this is the secret distillery inside Discovery.
Yeah, she's basically knocking up some hooch there. There's no doubt about it. Yeah.
Amazing. Have we seen the comments there about the Doctor from the previous slide was in Big Bang Theory? Oh, there you go. Right, moving on, Cole.
A lot of real scientists appeared on the Big Bang Theory, weren't there?
Yeah.
I have very fond memories of the Big Bang Theory.
Here we go. Void
documentary.
Neil deGrasse Tyson, of course.
So,
Well,
any takers on this one, Jen?
Tell us who's put this slide up, Dan?
Well, Carl's put it in, but I know the story. So, Carl, me or you?
I'd like to know more about this. This sounds fascinating because there's so many stories about bitchiness and then friendships and that kind of circulate about Voyager.
Would you like to know about it from Dan? Would you like to know about it from me? Or would you like to know about it from one of the most highly decorated ensigns that Starfleet has ever seen?
Oh, definitely a decorated ensign, please.
Okay. Let's. I'm going to steal James's line here. I've wanted to do this for ages. Roll VT.
Hello, Star Trek fans. Garrett Wong here. 2020 was the 25th anniversary of Voyager, and COVID upstaged us. So let us start 2021 off right. Some exciting news. 455 Films, the same team that brought you For the Love of Spock and What We Left Behind, have started production on a new Voyager documentary. 455 is launching a new crowdfunding campaign on March 1st in support of the Voyager doc, and they need your help. You'll have the option to pre-order the film, plus select some cool rewards for helping to make this project happen. You've shown your love for the DS9 documentary. Now, it's time to show your love for Voyager. We deserve the love too. Please help spread the word and join us on this journey. Stay tuned for more news by following the Voyager doc on all social media. See you on March 1st.
I think that's absolutely. I mean, of all the golden age Star Treks, I think Voyager for me is the one that you can dip in and out of the most. So I tend to rewatch it the most because you can just jump in and out whenever you like. And there are so many stories, especially with Tim Russ apparently being an absolute and total and utter prankster. You know, like disrupting everything all the time. There's so many. No, but there's so many. The same as Michael Dorn was on the TNG set. There's stuff you really want to hear about and see in a documentary. I'm really excited for this. I think this is wonderful.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's definitely going to be worth donating towards. I think.
Oh, absolutely.
If you've seen What We Left Behind, it was so well done as well.
I'm really excited for this. I think this is wonderful.
Yeah. Right, let's have a look through the comments. What have we got? Ben Dobson says a Star Trek Bake Off. That's an idea for a future.
Bake Off is. I think it's age appropriate.
Geordie says, how about we start talking a little bit more about DS9? Because, hey, loads of people are starting to rewatch DS9.
I just thought we could make Cornish pasties and stick them on our heads and we could be Klingons.
Moving on.
This is a suggestion that we could run a rewatch of DS9 and review the episodes like one after another.
Well, I had a thought. So they if it's like the What We Left Behind one, it's like if you donate this much, you get your name in the end credits. So, 17 minutes of end credits. If you donate this much, you get a freebie. Why don't we just cobble all together and get like the best one you can buy and share it all?
Kind of defeats the object.
What about a blankety-blank checkbook holder and pen?
I was hoping for a bully mug, but okay, fine. I will handle that. Right, Alan says it's not a distillery, it's a container for liquefied gas. That's boring. I'd rather it be alcohol. Right, moving on. Megan wants a documentary, which is cool. Cindy asks us a question. How many episodes are left in Discovery? After this week, one. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now,
is there any kind of feature where anyone can kind of, get speculation as to what might be in that episode?
I believe there's a show.
Anyone doing that?
Yeah, funny you should mention that, James. I believe there's something like that happening this evening.
We ran such a show a couple of weeks ago where we explored plot theories, and we were pretty accurate with our predictions. So I would watch it if you want to know what's going to happen. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I believe there's one happening at about 10:15 this evening, not long after we finish this show.
Carl, next slide, please.
Next slide.
Thank you, Professor Whitty.
Thank you. This week, obviously, the episode There Is a Tide marked the 800th, that's 800 individual adventures. That's episodes, TV series, all the rest of it, movies of Star Trek. 800, boys and girls. So I'm going to throw this out there. Out of 800, Desert Island, you've been granted you've been washed up with a DVD player that miraculously works when it's been pulled out of the water. You found a power outlet on the desert island and a TV, but you can only have one episode and/or movie. What do you take?
Oh, hang on a moment, Dan. Do you have a butler to put the disc in the DVD player?
Oh yeah, your butler is washed up with you as well. That's fine. What do you take?
I'd be using the DVD as a sort of rudimentary reflective signal to summon assistance.
Actually, I think, James, first of all, could you tell us what DVD stands for?
Digital Versatile Disc.
Thank you very much.
And I will allow double episodes. I will allow you to take a two-parter if it has to be.
Okay, I think James should go first.
Oh, Move Along Home, Deep Space Nine, obviously. Just to remind me that things can always get worse.
If that's the episode you want to be exiled with, we're fine with that.
Straight on to Carl, I think.
Oh, crikey. Just off the top of my head, I'd probably want something that's fairly good fun, so I'm going to say Cupid.
Oh, yes. Jean-Luc. Wow.
No,
what would you go for?
Well, we've had some suggestions. Let's have a look at a suggestion before I say mine.
Oh, yeah.
Chris said he'd take Endgame.
Yeah, it's a very good season finale.
For me, it would be All Good Things, Part 1 and 2.
Yep, that's your favourite. You've said on the show before.
Season finale.
DS9 Trouble with Tribbles, Ben Dobson said. That's absolutely fantastic.
That is a good
Two
episode.
episodes for the price of one.
Such Sweet Sorrow from Megan Reynolds, or The Killing Game. Yeah, The Killing Game. That's basically The Killing Game 1 and 2, James. That's a Christmas film right there.
It's Star Trek's Die Hard.
Yeah, that's a Christmas film.
Last week's disco was Star Trek's Die Hard.
No, that's... Stop. Rude. Do you know what you've done?
Not let him put his red alert up.
Right. No more Discovery talk.
Well, no, you played the red alert. That means we're allowed to now.
Oh, no, we're talking about this. Right, so let's see what other people are taking. Because lots of
Time
people...
Arrow.
I'm thinking of them. Give me a second.
Something's come up now that I need to address. Nadeem Bayati, friend of the show, has been here for some time. Inner Light. Okay, so when TNG first got its transfer to HD, this was the first one they did, and it was because of fan demand. Because Inner Light is a fan favorite. So my question is this: why? Why? What is it about this episode that people? Obviously, a lot of people do like it. I'm not denying that. But my question is why? What is it people like about this episode?
It's the grade A Sir Patrick Stewart acting. That's what it is.
The best TNG episode, my Desert Island choice, would always be Lower Decks. I think that's the best episode that was ever done. But the flute man, just right. Yes, I concur with you, Dan. It was a pointless episode. The one where he fell in love later, it felt like the Inner Light was done just for that, so he had something to play,
Inner Light, Picard goes to sleep and pretends to play the recorder. No, it is not an episode. It is rubbish. It is pointless season filler. Move on, people. Move on.
I'm inclined to agree with you, Dan, I'm afraid.
Don't mince words, Dan.
It's the best episode ever. No.
Don't worry, folks. I have the power to mute him.
And this week's Richard's Rant is presented by Dan.
Go on, I'll let you talk again now, Dan.
God, it's a dire episode.
I think if there's one thing that's safe to say about that episode, it does provoke conversation.
Actually, tell me.
And also kill conversation.
Wow. Moving on. There's a reason we love Chris. Look, James had a recorder before. It doesn't mean that he's the best episode of Let's Talk Trek, does it? See, suddenly it's the best episode of Let's Talk Trek.
Oh dear.
God almighty, right.
Does anyone remember when we used to be a Trek show?
Right, so that's enough of this. Was there anything else in the news, Carl? Anything else we need to click?
There was only one more, but I was going to let Richard do his feature first because it
right.
nicely after that.
Well, unfortunately, Richard's run off the bathroom.
Disappeared. So he's gone. I think all that discussion about the inner lights has tipped him over the edge.
He's got to come back with a wearing a dress with his hair cut off and a recorder and claim he's the best episode ever. Well, Sir Patrick, we love you. You know, all good things. All good things. Best of both worlds. Great episodes. You know, Tapestry. Great episode. Tapestry's. Oh, do I take Tapestry instead?
Oh, you do like Tapestry.
Oh, Tapestry's a good episode as well. But it's not. But all good things.
Due to you, Ensign Picard.
But Tapestry, all good things gives you 7 seasons of TNG squished into one. So, you know.
He's had to go get a fresh bottle of wine.
I hope that's
that look at the inner light.
Oh, look at it. It's quite dark. I think it might be port.
Thinking juice.
Right. Let's have a look. Shades of Grey is the worst.
Which
one?
one?
Rosa recently.
No, the worst is Code of Honor. Sorry. That's the worst.
Yeah.
All right, let's have a look at this. In an episode, the Gorn destroyed
I misread that as theatrical wormholes.
Geordie, if that's the only thing about Discovery that's confused you, you're a better man than I.
or lady, or other. We don't presume on genders in this thing.
Well, which leads us on to our next feature, which is Richard Reads.
Yes, which it does. We sort of waiting for you to come back for, to be honest.
Yeah, we didn't want to rush ahead.
Yeah. So let me press the button. I'll press the video and Carl prepare the thing. So
sharing prepared.
Shared and prepared.
So this week I've been reading Interspecies Relations, an Explorer's Guide by William T. Riker, which I have to admit was a bit of a dull read until I got to chapter 5, which was entitled What to Do When You Unexpectedly Discover That Your Date Has a Penis. And honestly, the anecdotes on this chapter are fascinating. You know, it's like appropriate things to do, inappropriate things to do. We've all seen Crocodile Dundee. The section where he asked a waiter for advice was just fascinating. This is a very good read, and I'd highly recommend it to anyone.
Wonderful.
Available from all good bookshops.
And Amazon. Right. Alan Window wants to be washed up on a desert island with TOS. Let that be your last battlefield.
It's a great episode.
Christoph said that Tapestry is essentially Picard lies on a bed and has a dream.
It was a really good dream. Though.
He saves himself by saying Tapestry's still way better than In a Light. So we'll let you continue to be a viewer, Christoph. We won't have to boot you off for being.
What happens to Picard in the Inner Light is that the probe that they encounter gives him all this information. And it's one of the bizarre ways that aliens communicate in the Next Generation and associated series, but none so weird, of course, as Darmok and Jalad at Tanagra.
When the walls fell.
Yeah. Go on, if you could take a second episode, what would it be? Just as a sort of... Because I've got one in the Pale Moonlight.
Spot again.
In the Pale Moonlight is a great episode.
So basically, you've gone to what's your second favourite Star Trek episode? That's a harder question than what's your favourite, isn't it?
And I didn't even go with... And I didn't even go with my favourite. I just took one that was fun to cheer me up because I'm stranded on a freaking desert island.
What was your favourite?
I don't know. There's so many to choose from. Down.
Whatever. It doesn't count if you don't get it right first time.
I would love to be stranded on a desert island. No one could reach you.
For a feel-good one, I quite like the DS9 baseball one.
Oh, yes.
That's good fun. For a cheer-me-up one, that's a good one.
Or Little Green Men as a.
Oh,
That's a good feel-good one. Yeah, that's a superb one. That's a good one.
I like the one on Voyager when Harry Kim dies and is replaced by his clone as well.
Or when he gets to sleep with all those women at the same time.
Do you think that's maybe why he never got promoted? Because Janeway was like, nah, well, it's not the real Harry Kim, so...
I bet you any money he did that. He did that Rimmer thing from Red Dwarf. He was Harry Kim, BSc, FSC, GSC. He was a type of guy that uses initials after his name on everything. Let's have a look. Paul! Times Arrow.
Times Arrow, good.
Oh, that's a good one.
Actually, Times Arrow 1 and 2. For your discerning Trek viewer, you'll see Mark Alamo's first appearance in Star Trek as one of the poker players at Data's table, and he's superb. He's really good. You can see why they had him as the original Cardassian, then they had him as the poker player, and then brought him back again, because he's obviously... One of the wonderful things about Star Trek is the amount of what I call ringers. So you've got the main cast, and then you get in special guest stars. You might not at the time necessarily have heard of them, but trust me, they've been vetted. They've got scouts out looking for these people. They bring in really good actors. Mark Alamo was one. Armin Shimron was another that they'd scouted and done so well, they brought them back to be main cast members. And Times Arrow is a wonderful episode.
In fact, I think Mark Alamo's very first episode in Trek was the Neutral Zone, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's a Cardassian, yeah. When the Cardassians had the stupid, whatever those things were.
Season 1, isn't it, the Neutral Zone?
Yeah, I'm sure he's one of the Romulans on that
is
first
he?
time we see a warbird at the end of season 1. Sure he is.
I mean, that sort of brings me on to... I really like The Magnificent Ferengi as an episode as well.
Yeah, that is a good one.
That's a good good episode.
Iggy Pop's in it. I mean, it's massive. Brilliant.
Let's have a look. He was a Romulan.
He was. You're right, Carl. He's a Romulan. Well done.
And Jean Delancey is another one of those ringers.
Yeah, this is the thing. When I was fortunate enough to meet Jeff Coombs a couple of times, and I might have had a drink or two, and I was talking about his guitar.
Never.
Yeah, and I said, you know, I've got to be straight up with you. The most intimidating thing you must ever have done as an actor is walk onto a Star Trek set. Not just because of how good the main cast are, but because of how good all the supporting cast ever come on. You're always going to be judged. You can't get away from it, you know. So to walk on a Star Trek set and deliver performances that they consistently do. Yeah, the actors are brilliant, but whoever the staff are that are essentially the scouts, you know, the casting directors, they've always done a sterling job and got such good people in every time consistently until Disco. But, you know,
it's strange you should say that, because...
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that's one of the biggest issues I have with Disco is that they've dropped the ball on that particular thing, which is weird because in Picard, quite the opposite. Everyone is superb in Picard.
Absolutely.
But they've dropped the ball so much with acting quality on Disco. It's incredible. We
are going to quickly run through our last feature of the evening as time is progressing, and James has a baby to go and babysit now.
Well, no, Dan, I'm going to have to correct you there before Mrs. Dillon does. You don't babysit your own children. You care for your own children. If I were to use the babysit, I would be hauled over the coals.
As we say, James has to go and babysit his own child.
What is it when you have to look after your wife? Woman sit?
That's marriage.
Ah.
Right, let's press this one.
Yeah, so ordinarily for the What in Sam Hill feature, I've been on the internet and found a clip of something that's amused me, but because I've been a bit distracted this week, I hadn't actually got round to it. And so I think it was Carl who chucked in some suggestions, or was it Richard? Whoever it was, thank you.
So this is my suggestion. Let's roll the VT and then I'll explain what's good about it.
Someone just asked me why I wasn't flying the plane. And you said, I'm not the captain. Anyway, we're on vacation. Can't they tell we're on vacation? Well, why does that look familiar?
Because we've been there. I like it better here.
Frequent flyers like the future on Western Airlines.
It's the only way to fly. Only. What a novel concept.
So, would anyone like to know what I love the most about this particular clip? Can anyone guess?
Was it the volcano on the air?
So you all spoke at once, which was my fault. Carl, do you? No. Okay, gone. James, anyone? No.
The Hawaiian shirts.
Absolutely. So in the Voyager episode with Kim and Tom Paris, he says, Hawaiian shirt, pineapple motif. Now we know why. Because James T. Kirk was wearing a pineapple motif Hawaiian shirt in this commercial for Western Airlines. Mystery solved. You're welcome.
Fair enough. Good clip.
I think they probably got some other writers from the current series of Discovery to script that.
No, James, it made far too much sense.
Paul says he'd like to watch Armand Bashir.
Oh, that's a good one.
Did you see the article that we put up on Trekkie Sky this week?
I was going to say, didn't we post something about that the other day, where the James Bond studios had got a little bit annoyed when that episode came out?
MGM
wrote me a shirty letter, didn't they? Yeah.
Mm. So what did the DS9 crew do? Did a second one.
What? Is that except where the most famous admiral in Starfleet history?
Wait, hang on. Can we just acknowledge the fact that Geordie, I love you, but you've got to change that profile picture because you remind me of that freaking paperclip thing that annoyed the fuck out of me in the early 20s.
It looks like you're writing a letter. Would you like me to do that for you?
It appears you're trying to.
It looks like you're writing a letter.
Hey, Badgie. You'll learn more about this when you watch Lower Decks. Right, moving on. So let's go with our final feature tonight. Carl, throw it up.
Yes. So this week sees the release of the next Star Trek Picard novel titled The Dark Veil. It's going to be available at presumably all good bookshops, also available on Amazon, and you can get it on Audible as well for, if you are a member, one whole credit. Now, this is written by James.
In terms of pence?
Sorry?
What's a credit in terms of pence?
I'm not sure about a credit in terms of pence, but the book itself, if you want to buy the hardback edition, is around 1,300 pence. So, yeah, the guy up in the corner there is James Swallow, the author. He's written Star Trek novels previously.
Friend of the show.
He's previously done a couple of Titan ones and also a Discovery one. Now, I have actually been in contact with Mr. Swallow a couple of months back, and believe it or not, he has agreed to grace our show with his presence. I'm just trying to
Splendid.
I'm just trying to firm up a date with him for after the book's been released, and hopefully we've had a chance to read it so that we can talk to him meaningfully about it.
We should invite a friend of the show, Tony Leon, at the same time. And have like an awful panel.
Oh, and friend of the show, J.K. Woodward.
Oh, and friend of the show, Gary O'Brien.
Hey, we could almost do a special.
We could have a night off. And we can have, a night off.
What news for you? Just guest hosts every week. We just don't bother turning up anymore.
Wow.
So, yeah, I mean, I'm particularly excited. The first Star Trek novel, which was by Una McCormack, was very good. I believe you're currently partway through that one, Richard.
Yeah, I'm. So, who's it by again? Una McCormack.
The first one was, yeah.
Yeah. So the novel's I enjoyed Picard, and I have to say I'm actually enjoying Picard more now. I'm reading or listening to the prequel book. I'm listening to it on Audible. The narrator is superb. The story is superb. It's really the main criticism I've sadly not read any of James's work, but the Star Trek novels I have read up until now have always been paced really poorly. It's almost felt like the writers got a Star Trek episode in the back of their head, which clearly won't work for a book. But the Picard prequel, it reads as a proper novel, and it works. It works really well. It's very well paced, and it's a really good story.
And with this one as well, you mentioned about the narrator there for Picard Last Best Hope. The same chap is narrating this book as well when it comes on.
He's very good. Very good. Yeah.
So from the illustration, it was assumed that this is set at some point in the relative past to Picard, then, based on those uniforms.
Yeah, it's another prequel novel, and it's mainly based, as you can tell by the cover, mainly based around Troy and Riker. Namely Riker, I believe something happens and he gets into a spot of bother for it.